The flood threat in the mid-Atlantic states, storms stalling over the region, rescues overnight. Leslie Lopez is in Raleigh, North Carolina with the latest. Leslie, good morning.
With heavy amounts of rain are going to continue to pull right here through North Carolina, stretching all the way south into South Carolina over the next several days. We're watching tributaries and creeks like the ones behind me swell, flooding a big concern. In fact, nearly the entire state of North Carolina under a flood watch.
This morning, millions in the path of a days-long flood threat as stalling storms dump dangerous downpours in the east.
All the businesses are underwater.
Dramatic new images showing the aftermath of the devastating flash flooding that spawned parts of West Virginia. Entire neighborhoods submerged. National Guard vehicles out in force. More than 80 water rescues reported in a 20-hour period. Some residents even paddling in to help however they can.
Myself and a few others are just kind of going around making sure everyone's okay. Some people are stranded in parking lots.
Home security camera footage capturing this man grabbing his son and heading to safety seconds before his shed and ATV are washed away. Flash floods also prompting rescues in Tennessee. This woman carried to safety from her car. The storms also spawning at least 23 tornadoes across 6 states from New Jersey to Kentucky. This couple surviving an EF2 twister that destroyed their home, holding hands as they rode out the storm in these recliners.
And we just kept saying, hang on, and don't let me go, don't let me go. And we're just glad to be alive.
Further south, the Gulf feeling the brunt of Bertha, the tropical storm making landfall in St. Bernard Parish, Louisiana. The storm surge kicking up waves in New Orleans and flooding along the coast as far as Biloxi, Mississippi.
More significant rain is expected in the area. There are training storms moving through, meaning that it's kind of a line of cars stacked up. These storms are moving very slowly through the area. So you can count on more downpours all the way through the next several hours. On Friday, there will be a break, however, Friday afternoon, only to return to heavier rainfall as we're heading into Saturday morning, exiting Saturday afternoon. Rachel.
Okay, Leslie, thank you. As that flooding hits Virginia and the Carolinas, Tropical Storm Bertha making landfall in Louisiana, battering the Gulf Coast with strong winds and rain. Victor Oquendo is in New Orleans with the very latest. Good morning, Victor.
Good morning, Rachel. That's right. Tropical Storm Bertha making landfall in Louisiana, the center of the storm, passing right over us here in New Orleans. Winds gusting at about 45 miles an hour. At one point, this entire area was underwater. That storm surge from Lake Pontchartrain inundating the streets here. The entire Gulf Coast saw some impacts, that coastal flooding in Florida, Alabama, Mississippi. Louisiana's governor calling it a best-case scenario for the state, but still urging residents to stay prepared as we have a long hurricane season ahead. Rebecca?
All right, Victor, in an area that has a lot of experience with that. Thank you. We're going to bring in Ginger now, who's tracking both of those storms. Good morning, Ginger.
And just to give some perspective, Bertha not only thankfully pretty mild, but this is the latest second named storm we've seen since 2014. That name was also Bertha, and we'll probably see Bertha again 6 years from now. That's how the naming goes. But let's talk about where it's going, because there still will be some impacts. The track takes it right into Texas, kind of by Galveston, as we get into late tonight into tomorrow morning. Becomes a low pressure system, hangs out over the Texas just with some rain, 1 to 4 inches. But it's that push of water that still has the tropical storm warnings from coastal Louisiana, Lake Cameron, back over to Galveston, and again, just at the coast south of Beaumont. So not a lot of rain with this. Where there is a lot of rain, flash flooding happening right now. Flash flood warnings from Durham to Virginia Beach. And this is the area that Leslie was referencing, that level 3 out of 4, 2-inch per hour rainfall rates coming through here because they're just going to train on that front. This is the same front that did all the damage. Now it's just going to sit around for 2-3 days and let that tropical moisture hit it. And unfortunately, that adds up. You end up with some places getting more than a half foot of rain. When that falls, and it falls quickly, we have problems.
Okay, yeah, something to watch closely, Ginger. Thank you. Now to breaking news from overnight. Protests in Wisconsin after a deadly police-involved shooting. Pierre Thomas joins us now with what we know. Pierre, good morning.
Whit, good morning. The city of Madison now grappling with issues of race and policing after a black suspect was fatally shot in a struggle with police. We caution you, this video is difficult to watch. Overnight, protesters marching through downtown Madison following a deadly encounter between police and a black man authorities say was armed with a knife.
No justice, no peace!
Police say officers were called for reports of a man checking vehicle doors. When officers tried to make contact, they say he fled on a bicycle. About a half hour later, officers catching up with him and a physical struggle ensued in a busy intersection. Police say the man produced a fixed blade knife and injured an officer. They say they tased him, but it failed to stop the suspect.
The overall situation is clearly elevated. It becomes incredibly dangerous, and it obviously increases risk for everyone there, for every officer, for the person as well. I think it severely narrows the scope of options and possible outcomes.
Video circulating online, officers appear to be wrestling with the man on the ground before 3 shots are fired. The man, who has not yet been identified, later died at the hospital. What appears to be stoking tensions is clearly a lack of trust. The police were not wearing body cameras, which are not widely deployed in their department, Rachel.
All right, Pierre Thomas on that late breaking news overnight. Thank you, Pierre. The latest now on the war with Iran. New attacks taking aim at a second critical waterway with gas prices surging overnight. Chief Global Affairs anchor Martha Raddatz is tracking it all from Amman, Jordan. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, Rachel. Overnight here in Jordan, 6 Iranian missiles and 4 drones were intercepted, and the Kuwaiti army says drones were intercepted there as well. But this morning, a new front in this conflict with potential global consequences. Overnight, Iranian-backed militants in Yemen taking aim at 2 Saudi oil tankers in the Red Sea in an attempt to block international shipping, choking another key waterway that could have ripple effects for the world economy. Secretary of State Rubio responding moments ago.
I hope that will de-escalate, because I think the Houthis, frankly, got snookered into this thing by the Iranians, and they were smart to stay out of it, and they should stay out of it, and they should stop.
This as the U.S. launches its 12th straight night of attacks on Iranian targets. This video posted online is said to be at a border crossing between Iran and Iraq, showing people screaming and running away on the Iraqi side. The U.S. has not acknowledged this specific strike. The Iranians say 2 people were killed. Human rights activists in Iran say there's been nearly 3,700 casualties since February.
We do it because we have to do it, because we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon.
But despite the U.S. bombardment of Iran, they aren't backing down, once again threatening oil tankers in the Strait of Hormuz. And in Iraq, American forces on alert after explosions rocked Erbil. President Trump responding with a stark warning that for every Iranian strike on a ship in the Strait of Hormuz, the U.S. will bomb and destroy 1 bridge or power plant inside Iran. Deliberately targeting civilian infrastructure is a potential war crime under international law. And this morning, the real cost of the war is hitting home. 18 American service members killed so far and 100 wounded this month alone. The president attending the dignified transfer of the 4 American soldiers killed last week. Sergeant Michael Emmanuel Swinton of North Carolina killed in Iraq, and the 3 soldiers killed after an Iranian attack on an American airbase in Jordan. The youngest, 19-year-old Isabella Gonzalez of Texas, Sergeant Angel Rampersad, 28, of Ozone Park, New York, and 25-year-old First Lieutenant Tyler James Feehan of Hawaii. The president later flying the Feehan family to Georgia on Air Force One before thanking them at a rally.
But to Sherry and Stephen and David, we will carry Tyler's memory in our hearts forever, and I just want to thank you. It's an honor to have you here today. Please.
And still so many questions about that attack here. And of course, this morning, questions about the attack in the Red Sea. What we do know is that oil and gas prices have spiked once again. The average for a gallon of gas in the U.S. is now $4.08. And Rachel, that is expected to rise.
Yeah, especially as the uncertainty continues. Okay, Martha, I want to get to that other headline. The Trump administration also facing significant backlash this morning to that landmark nuclear deal reached with Saudi Arabia.
Exactly, Rachel. 9/11 families had urged the White House not to move forward with this deal while litigation over Saudi Arabia's alleged ties to the 9/11 terrorist attacks is still in federal court. Rachel.
All right, Martha, we appreciate your reporting. Thank you. Rebecca?
All right. Thanks, Rachel. We turn now to new questions in the death of Nolan Wells after preliminary results from an autopsy ordered by the teen's family were inconclusive. And Aaron Katersky is here with the latest on that. Good morning, Aaron.
Good morning, guys. This has to be agonizing for the parents of Nolan Wells. They laid him to rest this week without knowing how he died, and the autopsy they commissioned came up empty. There are still no final answers this morning for the parents of Nolan Wells after the autopsy report they commissioned found the cause and manner of the 18-year-old's death to be undetermined.
There's so many people out in the public asking all of these questions, but the only question that we have is what happened to our son.
Wells vanished during a July 4th boat trip to a remote barrier island off the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and his body was recovered 2 days later. The state's autopsy is still pending. The family autopsy found there were no fractures or deep tissue injuries, but described an area of red discoloration on the back of his head.
That's a signal to me that the pathologist is not certain that it's due to trauma. Discoloration can happen from lots of different things, and especially in a decomposed body, discoloration could just be a consequence of decomposition.
The pathologist said he could not observe the airway and lungs for water because the Mississippi Medical Examiner had already removed parts of the young man's body, pointing out that is common practice. Sources tell ABC News Wells was found wearing only swim trunks face down in the water, consistent with a drowning. Wells's friend Warren Hudson, appearing on the Officer Tatum Show podcast, echoing earlier accounts that Wells chose to stay behind after the boat he took to Horn Island began to take on water.
Obviously, we were in emergency. The boat, we're trying to save the boat. It's not like we didn't ask Nolan or we just left Nolan. Nolan decided to stay on the island with the girl that he was with.
As Mississippi authorities continue their investigation, they're urging patience.
There's a lot of questions. I get that, but I also need to emphasize that it's important that this process be able to occur in a way that helps ensure that we get the right answers, that we put together the right facts, that we get people coming forward that give credible statements.
And the way it works in Mississippi, guys, is they wait for everything. The toxicology report included before releasing any information about cause and manner of death. That could take weeks longer. We know the sheriff says he is working to interview everyone potentially involved. He says he welcomes the family autopsy, the additional set of eyes, but it's just going to take more time.
Still so many questions and grieving family in the middle of it all. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate it. Now to a new cluster in that severe stomach bug outbreak with dozens of new cases. Elizabeth Schulze joins us now with the latest. Elizabeth, good morning.
Good morning, Whit. So the FDA is investigating a new potential outbreak of that severe stomach illness, cyclosporiasis. It's not yet identifying the location or source, but says that this cluster includes at least 72 cases of the parasite. We are already seeing cases hit a record across the country in 41 states. More than 11,000 people have now gotten sick. Typically in a given year, there are around 3,000 cases, and we are only now about halfway through the season for this. The FDA did link at least 1,600 cases to Taylor Farms iceberg lettuce from Mexico, served at Taco Bell locations in 5 states. That's been recalled. We spoke with Chase Strangino in New York, who said that he was one of more than 40 people who got cyclosporiasis after eating a boxed lunch with lettuce at a corporate event. He said that he was sick for weeks. When untreated, symptoms for this can linger for days or even weeks, but thankfully, antibiotics can help clear this up, guys.
Okay, Elizabeth, thank you. We're going to switch gears now and turn to LeBron James. And the question that everyone is asking, we're asking it, NBA fans are asking it, the NBA is asking it, where exactly is he going? And Will Reed, you might have a clue?
I guess. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, but it's the question of the summer that feels nearly annual at this point. Where is LeBron James going to go? Fans want answers, teams and players want answers, the league wants answers. And we did have, as Rachel said, what appeared to be a clue, if only for a brief moment. The Miami Heat posting a link to their YouTube channel to a scheduled live stream with the title LeBron James Introductory Press Conference for July 27th. But they promptly took that down. They said it had been posted in error. The Heat have already been busy this offseason. They acquired champion and multiple-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo, and legendary Heat executive Pat Riley says he would welcome LeBron back to the city where he spent 4 seasons and won his first 2 NBA titles. The Philadelphia 76ers are also reportedly in the mix, as are the Golden State Warriors, much to Whit Johnson's delight. Recall Steph Curry making a good pitch for LeBron right here on GMA last week, and LeBron's hometown Cleveland Cavaliers. That would be a full circle moment. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver would like LeBron to hurry up and choose. Silver saying the league's media partners, including our parent company here, need to know where LeBron is going so they can make their national TV schedules. But LeBron's agent, Rich Paul, said on a recent podcast, quote, "We're not going to be rushed. It's his choice to make. And when he makes the choice, he will make it." As for the man himself, LeBron says he is prioritizing family and happiness as he makes his decision for what is almost certainly his final season.
He's
Even
going
the
to take
commish begging for answers.
Yes, but he's going to take his time, which is probably what the person who accidentally posted that link on YouTube should have done.
That's exactly right.
It continues.
Thank you, Will, for that. Appreciate it.